my fellow comic book collectors, it's Alan, the Comic Collector Geek, and this is the Sunday video where I look at the hottest Golden Age comics of the week. And let's get right into the list. Number 10 on the list is Planet Comics number 30. This is from Fiction House, 1944. It's a Joe Doolan cover. It's got everything. It's got, you got funny alien creatures with like Nazi-style hats, like almost like or German-esque hats, I should say. You got torture, bondage, sci-fi, good girl. It's just a cool cover. This is a cover by Joe Doolan. And this was a 1.8 restored copy, C1 restoration. The cover was reattached with glue. That's what the issue is. Okay, I'll get into that in a second. But this one sold for $110.19. Now, this is actually an interesting one. I think this is a real steal. This was a bit of a steal because a couple things. One, the cover was reattached with glue. Now, if you have a detached cover, you can get as high of a grade as a 2.0. So, whether there's glue there or not, you could still get a Blue Label 1.8. So this one actually has a lot of potential. It's a C1, it's amateur restoration, but glue can be removed, hopefully without causing any further damage. But it could be a Blue Label. And this book actually goes up a lot as a Blue Label. But the previous record for this book was actually for restored restored 1.8 was set back in October of 2021 for $132. So this is slightly down from that previous record, but if it was a Blue Label, there was a 2.0 Blue Label that sold just recently in February of 2024 for $395. So you could almost quadruple your money by just removing some glue. So this one actually I think was a great opportunity. There's 49 of these on the census, and 45 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 9 on the list is Mystic number 25. This is from Atlas Comics, 1953. It's a Russ Heath cover, and it's just a cool zombie cover. I like zombie covers, and this is one of those. It just got the full-on zombie. It's awesome. This was a 4.0 that sold, and it sold for $240. This is up from the previous record. The previous record was set back in April of 2021 for $220. So it's up about 10% from the prior record. So reasonable sale for this book. This one actually had just a recent sale in 2023, in January of 2023, where it sold for $182. So it actually had gone down a little bit, but now it's not only recovered in price, but gone up slightly. So it's a good sale for this book. There are 35 of these on the census, and 33 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 8 on the list is Blue Circle Comics number 3. This is from Rural Home, 1944. It's a Harold Delay, or I think I'm pronouncing that correct, cover. And it's a really cool one. It's Hitler, and he's like an octopus. And you got these two swimming down to him, and they're going to poke him. It's just a really cool parody of Hitler on the cover. I just like the fact that he's octopus. It's a cool book. This one was a 2.0 that sold, and it sold for $314, which is a very strong sale for this book. The prior record for this book was in May of 2018, where it sold for $218. Now, this book actually had dropped just prior to COVID, where in June of 2019, this book had sold for $192. So it's up 50% from its record. So it's a very strong sale. Actually, I looked at this one on eBay to see what other people are listing at, and people have really high prices on this one in similar grades, so like $400 to $500 range. I think those are unrealistic prices, but this one, people seem to want a lot for it, and it's a cool book. So you never know. This record might be beaten soon. So yeah, there are 38 of these on the census, and 34 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 7 on the list is Wonder Woman number 37. And this is from DC Comics, 1949. It's a H.G. Peter cover. And it's a cool cover. You got kind of the twin Wonder Woman on the cover where she's opening a sarcophagus with, or is it a sarcophagus? The mummy thing, with another Wonder Woman inside. But this is actually the first appearance of Circe, which is one of the major characters for Wonder Woman. I actually believe that's in Absolute Wonder. Is it Absolute or Ultimate? I always get the names mixed up. Ultimate Wonder Woman, the new series that just came out with DC. I think Circe plays a pretty big role in that. So, kind of a cool character. However, this book hasn't been doing that well. This was a 2.0, and it sold for $450. Which is way down from the previous record for this book, which was set back in December of 2021, where it sold for $650. This book actually had even fallen more than this, where in March of this year, March of 2025, it had sold for $350. So this is a slight recovery, but this book has really dropped. Actually, most Wonder Woman books have actually dropped, which is sad because I kind of invested heavily personally into Wonder Woman because I really like the character. I really feel like Wonder Woman is underrated. There are 91 of these on the census, and 84 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 6 on the list is Comic Cavalcade number 1. This is from DC Comics, 1942. Or All American Comics, if you want to be precise. But it's from 1942. It's a Frank Harry cover. And it's a cool wraparound cover where you see like a bunch of the All American characters on the cover, and they're racing against each other. And the 3 that are kind of at neck and neck at the finish line are Green Lantern, The Flash, and Wonder Woman. But Wonder Woman wins, so I especially like this one. At least she gets a win somehow. This was a 2.0 that sold, and it sold for $1,780. This is the only sale in this grade, so we can compare it to other sales. And this is a really strong sale because a 4.5 just sold in June of 2025 for $1,616. So this is up compared to the higher grade 4.5 sale. I think somebody overpaid on this one. This was a buy it now on eBay, and I think somebody just overpaid because, as I said, the 4.5, much higher grade, sold for less, about $100 less. So this one I think should have been listed. Somebody should have paid around $900 or $800 for it. Probably $800 would have been more in line with what this book should have sold for. But somebody got a great sale. It's still a cool book. But yeah, they kind of overpaid. There are 78 of these on the census, and 65 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 5 on the list is Batman number 15. This is from DC Comics, 1943. It's a Jack Burnley cover, and it's a cool Gatling gun cover. There's not many covers where you got Batman with a gun, and this is just one of them where he's got not only a gun, but like a Gatling gun. This is like gonna obliterate somebody out there. Just a really cool cover. This was a 5.0 conserved book, so there's restoration and then there's conservation. The difference between restoration and conservation is that restoration is generally done to improve the aesthetics of the book rather than maintaining the quality of the book. And conservation is more about doing things to prevent the book from falling apart. And some conservation can be undone and you can get a blue label. So it's kind of a higher level than typical restoration. is the best way to think of it. This was a 5.0 that I said, conserved grade, and it sold for $2,500. Now, again, this is an only sale for this grade, but there was a blue label 5.0 that sold in November of 2023 for $1,600. So this one actually sold for $900 more than the blue label did. Another, probably an overpay. Generally, the difference in price between conserved and blue labels is usually half. So I would have expected this one to sell for around that $1,000 mark, maybe, or $800 to $1,000 mark. So this was a very much a really high sale, about 2.5 times what I would have expected it to sell for. So yeah, so a very strong sale. There are 258 of these on the census, and 213 of them are universal blue labels. Number 4 on the list is Batman #3. This is from DC Comics 1940. It's a Bob Kane and Jerry Robinson cover. And this has actually got a couple first appearances. It has the first appearance of the Puppet Master, but also it has the first appearance of Catwoman. Prior to this book, Catwoman was kind of in the comic, but not really. So what it was you had Selina Kyle, and we don't know that Selina Kyle is the Catwoman. That they find that out later. But what happens is there's these series of robberies that are happening, and there's notes being left behind. So in issues Batman 1 and 2, there's these notes being left behind, and they're always signed the Cat. You never see the Cat, but you know, it's kind of almost like a cameo of Catwoman, but not, you never see her, so it's not Catwoman. Well, in this, they changed the name of the story, and they changed the name of the character to Catwoman. And you finally see her in her full Catwoman suit, where you see her with the cat mask. It's just a cat mask. That's her costume in this. But you get to see her as Catwoman. So that's why this is a pretty major key for Batman collectors, because Catwoman is kind of one of the most famous of Batman's rogues gallery, next to the Joker maybe. So yeah, so just a classic character, very beloved character. Now this one is really rough. You can see probably from the picture, it is really rough. This was a 0.5 that sold, and it sold for $2,600. Now this one, if you look at the picture, it looks like some army of bugs ate the top part of the comic, and even the bottom part of the comic. There was a lot of extensive bug chew, and that's why I got the 0.5 grade. This is what, when people think of 0.5 comics, this is what they think of, these really beaten up comics. And this one's it's a sad thing that happened to this one, but still a very strong sale for this book. The previous record for a 0.5 was set back in August of 2022 for $2,300. And this is up $300 from that prior record. However, this book had actually dropped considerably. There was actually a 0.5 that sold in June of 2024 for $900. That was the most recent sale for this book. So this is up almost 3 times from its recent sale, and up another, it's up $300 from its ultimate record. So very strong sale for this book, even though it doesn't necessarily present the best, but still a very strong sale. Very beautiful, cool book. I mean, this is like such a major book. There are 318 of these on the census, and 221 of them are universal blue labels. Number 3 on the list is Action Comics number 44. This is from DC Comics 1942. It's a Fred Ray cover, and it's another great World War II cover, because you got Superman basically taking a German cannon and twisting it. It's kind of a classic World War II theme. Now, this was a 6.0 that sold, and it sold for $4,000. At least I think so. I've been trying to find records to see, like, it was a best offer on eBay, if they actually accepted a best offer or what, but it says $4,000 that it sold for, so I'm not sure. I think it's 4,000, but maybe it could have been less. If somebody knows about this sale, please tell me in the comments below. But from what I can tell from the records I can find, it says that it was a $4,000 sale. This was actually one that was part of the DC Universe collection, which was a complete collection of DC comics. So it's kind of a cool little, not pedigree, but a little extra denotation that's given to this book, because it was part of a kind of an important collection where somebody had actually gone out and gotten every single DC book, I think from the very beginning of DC all the way up to 2014. So pretty awesome collection that somebody had gotten, and this was part of that collection. Now, the previous record for this book is really interesting. So this was a really strong sale, because the previous record for this book was $1,560 back in May of 2025. So this one had a huge sale, basically 3 times, if that's the right number. Massive sale for this book. So there's 96 of these on the census, and 83 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 2 on the list is Zango, the Jungle Prince. Number 4, this is from Fox Features Syndicate, 1949. It's a Matt Baker cover, and it's just a great, beautiful cover. Great Good Girl on it. Just a classic, cover. This is the last issue of this series, and this was a pretty interesting sale, because it was a 5.5 pedigree book that sold, and it sold for $4,000. Now, I'm not sure if this is because of the Matt Baker or because of the pedigree. Now, and I'll explain that because this one is interesting. That's the only sale for this book. So this book has never sold before in this pedigree. So it's, first time coming up. Really big book for it to come up. This was a massive sale because a 3.5, which I know is a lower grade, sold for $528 back in December of 2024. So that's kind of the most recent comparable sale. So based on that, you would expect maybe this one would sell for $1,000, maybe $1,100, kind of that range. But this is 5 times that, okay? There was a 6.5, just to give you a sense of how big of a sale this was. There was a 6.5, and there's usually a weird doubling effect at that 6.0 to 6.5 range. So this is a 6.5 that sold for $5,040 in September of 2023. So you would expect this 5.5 to be probably around maybe $2,000 at the highest. I'm just trying to give the highest potential price for this book. Based on the 3.5, more in that $1,000 range. So, this was a very strong sale. As I said, 2 to 3 times what you would expect it to sell for. Now, there has been a lot of hype around Matt Baker, but this pedigree is the key part. And let me get into the pedigree. It's an Okajima pedigree. Now, if you're not familiar with the Okajima pedigree, it's probably one of the most desired pedigrees of all. The Okajima pedigree was basically one where it was a brother and sister who were in the internment, actually 2 brothers and a sister. They were in an internment camp in the United States. They were Japanese, and they were in the internment camp, and they collected comics. They would get it from, there was within this camp, they had a little store they could buy comics, and they were getting the funny thing is they're getting comics that are usually, talking about how evil the Japanese are, or things like that, and they're Japanese in this camp, right? So it's just such a bizarre situation. But they had this collection, and they kept it very, very well. And they would write their name at the top of the comics to, denote that they own the comics. And they're, because of this sort of historical significance of these books, people really seek them out. And often people will pay anywhere from, if it's a lesser valued comic, they might pay 5-10 times what the value of the comic is worth just for that pedigree. Now, these higher priced comics, like this is a pretty expensive comic regardless of the pedigree or not, usually it's only about 2 to 3 times the value of the regular version. So this is kind of in line with that. And I just thought it was an interesting book. This was a really strong sale, and it just confirms the importance of that Okajima pedigree. Very cool one. I'd love to have an Okajima in my collection, but I don't. Really cool book. And there's only 23 of these on the census. 22 of them are Universal Blue Labels. Number 1 on the list is Superman number 17. This is from DC Comics, 1942. It's a Fred Ray cover. And this is a classic Hitler and Tojo cover. You got Superman, he's got the little Hitler and Tojo in his hands, and he's like ringing them. Just a cool cover. But this is also a very major key book for the history of Superman as a character, because this is where the Fortress of Solitude is first introduced. And it's called the Secret Citadel inside, and they even show like pictures of it, but it is the Fortress of Solitude. It's, it is what it is. But it's also the first time we have Lois Lane questioning if Clark Kent is Superman. So another key element to the whole backstory of Superman and like the whole character of Superman is these 2 major parts. So very cool comic. Yeah, this was a 6.0 that sold, so really high grade. And it sold for $7,900, which is another massive sale, because the previous record for this book was set back in June of 2022 for $4,500. So yeah, massive sale. 3,400 above the prior record, almost double. Just a really strong sale. To give you a comparative, typically the highest, you can get a much higher grade for the same price. Even a 7.5 that sold back in March of 2024 only sold for $7,500. So much higher grade, and it sold for less. So this was a really, really strong sale. Yeah, I think somebody just, again, overpaid. So a lot of these were kind of overpaid. Like, I think, people, are seeing these books that don't actually come up that often. And, they jump on them. And that's what's happening here. We're getting some pretty strong sales for books that you just don't see that often. Yeah, it's an interesting one. There's 237 of these on the census, and 204 are Universal Blue Labels. So what did you think of this list? Did you buy any of these books on the list? There were some pretty cool ones. I recommend, when people go out and buy Golden Age books, this is a little bit of advice, be a little bit more savvy about, watch these videos, for example, but also be savvy in terms of what the fair market value is, because I think people were overpaying, and, they think that they're getting a deal, because a lot of these were best offers, but the best offer price was so high that even when you're like saying, oh, I want 50% off, it's still high. So be a bit aware, like go to Collect, go to GPA, look at the numbers and before purchasing, and really push back on those high prices, because sometimes I think people are overpaying. But just a little bit of advice. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.